Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is your Shawny English here. So, recently I've just finished this book named How We Learn by Benedict Carey. This is a book that contains many principles about how to learn more effectively and more consistently. As I was reading through these research-backed tips in this book, I was thinking like, wait, this is exactly what I've been doing with my English learning all along. So today in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you three critical principles from this book that can help us completely transform how we learn English. I'm going to be covering how, where, and what we learn when it comes to the English language, or any language I like. Principle number one, spaced learning, aka the marathon, not the sprint. Here is what spaced learning means. Instead of cramming for hours each day over a short period of time, we study for just a short time every single day and keep this up for years. That is to say, frequency beats intensity or duration, like always. Think about it like watering a plant. You don't dump a huge bucket of water on it once a week and expect it to thrive. You give it a little bit every day consistently and watch it grow strong over time. Benedict Carey cites Francis Bacon's thought to back it up. If you read a piece of text through 20 times, you will not learn it by heart so easily as if you read it 10 times while attempting to recite it from time to time and consulting the text when your memory fails. English is the same way. It doesn't need to eat up huge chunks of your day, but it does need to show up regularly for a few days at least. Kind of like an English nanny. This is what naturally happened to me, actually. I wove English into my life. I listened to podcasts or audiobooks while doing chores or working out. Sometimes English videos became my background music during walks or works or something like that. I'll write random thoughts in my diary when my roommate woke me up at midnight. When watching movies, I'd actually pay attention to those bilingual subtitles and learning how they are converted. I downloaded videos to watch them repeatedly, watching them today and revisiting maybe another day. I've been doing these for a few years since high school. I was naturally creating repetition and consistency without even realizing it. And the beauty is, it never felt like studying. It just felt like part of my life. Now that we're spacing out our time, and then we need to talk about what we're going to do with that time. And that brings us to principle number two, interleaving, aka to mix it up. Instead of dedicating entire days to just one skill, try mixing all the different aspects of English into each day. Practice speaking, listening, reading, and writing, ideally every single day. Benedict Carey puts it perfectly. Varied practice is more effective than focused practice because it forces us to internalize patterns that work in any situation. He shares the basketball study. Scientists split players into two groups. Group A practiced the same move over and over again until they were perfect. Group B did random test, varied practice with different drills mixed together. Guess what? Group B, the random group, did much better in real tests. Here's why this works. Random practice forces you to constantly adjust. You are training your brain to adapt to different situations on the fly. That's exactly what real English use looks like. When you're actually using English in real life, you're not just reading for 3 hours straight or only listening to a piece of podcast all day. You might read an email, then talk about something, then listen to a podcast, then write some notes, and all these within the same morning. So if you're feeling drained after hours of textbook study, that's a sign to break that routine. Go do something else. Shift your learning, read something interesting, have a conversation even with yourself, listening to something that you enjoy, write down your thoughts, and this could somehow refuel your energy and let out your creativity. I still do this now as someone who uses English to create content and consume information daily. Now let's talk about what we actually learn, because this is where most people get it completely wrong. And that is our principle number three, relevance, aka make it make sense to you. Principle number three is all about relevance. We need to study English that actually relates to our lives, stuff we know, understand, and care about. Let me explain how English learning actually works in our brain. First off, input. We get information from reading or listening, something from outside world, something that we consume daily, and then we need to comprehend these information that we consume. We understand this based on what is previously stored in our brain and connected to our world. Only by comprehending and understanding stuff we consume, we can turn them into output, something that we can actually use it when speaking or writing. But here is what happens when we study random stuff that gets crammed into us, something that we passively receive without any connection to our own understanding and our lives. In this case, we can't truly comprehend it because it has no context in our experience. We memorize words from textbooks without understanding what they are talking about. And when we try to use that information later, it's gone. Think about these classic English lessons from our textbooks, like going to the zoo with a vocab list of animal names, but you have never been to a zoo and do not care about animals, those words just bouncing right off your brain. This is why I always struggle when people ask me to recommend books or podcasts. I can't give you good recommendations without knowing your interests, your level, your lifestyle, who you are as a person. If I just recommend something based on my experience, it might be completely useless for your life. So to that end, here is the best learning advice I can give. Stop looking outward for answers and start looking inward. Really ask yourself these questions. What am I actually interested in? What did I consume the most in my native language? What's happening in my daily life right now? And why do I want to learn English in the first place? But most people tell me that, well, I don't really know what I'm interested in or what my motivation is. I ponder this matter a bit. Maybe it is because of our education system or our teachers and parents or something like that. Maybe it's because of their cranky old perspective that we only learn to obey, to only get things, but not choose things. I used to be one of you, but then I had certain realization about identifying what I truly want. Try to think about yourself and put it on a sheet of paper or something. Write 10 sentences about what you think and know about yourself. If you're struggling to figure this out yourself, ask people who know you well. What is your impression of me? What do you think? What do you think I'm good at? What do you see me doing most often? It is totally up to you to design your own learning experience. Teachers and creators like me can only provide general guidance based on what we think might work. You're the one who is responsible for making this work in your unique situation. Anyway, the ultimate goal is to make everything you consume relevant to you. If what you are learning right now, either actively or passively, is unfortunately not relevant or not making sense to you, it is okay. But try to do something that helps you make it make sense. For example, when I was studying translation and interpreting as, for the certificates, I had to read a lot of things like this. Some of these gave me a hard time as I was completely illiterate in economics or politics or something like that. But as I read books like the economics books, world history, a lot of these items started to make sense to me. Even though I am not a master in this field, it feels great. Yeah, never stop learning, which will eventually lead to relevance. Put it briefly, the overarching principle is starting with something you already know and then trying to make something known. That's all I like to share in this video. Let me tie these 3 principles together with one key concept: distribution. Distribution of time, spacing out your practice over months and years. Distribution of content, mixing different skills every day. And distribution of topics, choosing materials that connect to different parts of your real life. That's all I would like to share in this video. If you're interested in this book, I highly suggest you read from A to Z, from cover to cover. It does contain a lot more principles about different aspects of our learning. So yeah, okay, this is the end of the video. I'm Shawny English here. Remember, happy learning, and I will see you in the next video.